Warriors! Today is a big day. The big wigs are discussing stablecoins. As the market goes sideways, they got you looking this way, confused at a narrative, and there's a whole nother agenda going on this way. My name is Coach JV. I am the top health and mindset coach in the world. What you believe in your heart, you think in your mind will eventually become your words and become your reality. If you can see it in your mind, eventually you can hold it right here in your hands. What you repeatedly do gets ingrained in your subconscious mind. What gets ingrained in your subconscious mind becomes an unconscious activity. And it's been a very confusing couple months for a lot of people. And a lot of people have lost their patience and jumped out of the market. But I'm here to share with you, Warriors, this is the biggest shift in generational wealth. And the fact is, most people are not patient enough to stick it out, to completely change their life. Think about that for just a moment. Most people are patient enough to stay in a miserable relationship their whole life. They're patient enough to stay in a miserable job their whole life just to retire, to not do anything. They're patient enough to be miserable and uncomfortable with their health, but they're not patient enough to wait 4 months, 5 months for life-changing wealth. Now, there's two factors. Number one, you have to have patience. And number two, you have to have a game plan. That's why in my Warrior Academy, you can click the link down below to join our private Warrior Academy. It's still 90% off. You can get access to my exact portfolio, our exit strategy that you fill out yourself, a detailed exit strategy, so you have a game plan. That's the key. When the market goes parabolic on the back end of this year in a couple months, you got to have a game plan, Warriors, or you're going to end up going right up and coming right back down. This is about doing what the elites do so that you can have a game plan to change your life and your family's life. You can also join my 120-day challenge, subconscious mind programming, goal setting, vision board creation, how I created a money mindset, create discipline, and we'll show you how the Warriors run. Well, let's jump right into it, Warriors. First of all, I want to say thank you with an attitude of gratitude. What an amazing, amazing weekend it was. Coming off our first meet and greet, it was packed. It was packed. So thank you to the Circa Hotel and Pool. Thank you to all those who came. It was just a wonderful, wonderful weekend. So we're going to jump right into it, Warriors. So I'm going to show you guys this video first. One thing I want to share with you guys, this came from the Market Sniper. If you want to see this video, thank you for the people who come up with these clips. This is a BIS, which is a Bank of International Settlements. Okay, and one of my Warriors sent this over to me. So this is a Bank of International Settlements. Listen to what he says about CBDCs. Listen to what he says, Warriors. There's so much going on behind the scenes, and that today our government in America is discussing stablecoins. So I want you to watch this video all the way through, and then I'm going to take you through the BIS, what they're talking about in regards to CBDCs, and how the narrative is going to play out, in my opinion.
Our analysis on CBDC, in particular for the use of general use, we tend to establish the equivalence with cash. And there is a huge difference there. For example, in cash, we don't know, for example, who's using a $100 bill today. We don't know who is using a 1,000 peso bill today.
So I've been telling you guys that the whole time. When they move you to the central bank, okay, that pushes out the commercial bank. So it brings you closer to the monetary system that they created, right? And so they can monitor every single transaction. So he said it right here.
A key difference with the CBDC is that central bank will have absolute control on the rules and regulations that will determine the use of that expression of central bank liability. And also we will have the technology to enforce that. Those two issues are extremely important, and that makes a huge difference with respect to what cash is.
Okay, I want to share with you now. Remember, do what they say, not what they do. What do they always tell you about Bitcoin? It's used for all these nefarious activities. Do you realize Bitcoin cash is used way more for nefarious activities? So what they're doing is they're fudding you away from cryptocurrencies as they're getting into it. Remember, do what they do, not what they say. They tell you it's nefarious. It's got it uses so much energy. Bank branches, ATMs, the banking system uses way more energy than Bitcoin does, right? Bitcoin is used in way less nefarious activities than cash is. He just said it. You can't track cash. Bitcoin is on a blockchain. Think about that. It's all on a blockchain, Warriors. This is all a narrative by design for control. Think about that. Whereas I'm telling you the game, this is how I do. You're looking this way. They're trying to make you think cryptocurrency, which they created, in my opinion. You're looking this way, okay? And it's like, okay, here, look over here, and we're going to tell you that it's crappy, it's expensive, it's going to ruin the environment, and then a bunch of criminals use it. You don't want to use it, but at the same time, we're going to be building all these BIS documents. This is back in 2020. That was in 2020. This has been going on for a very long time. So this is an actual BIS document. The gentleman that was just talking, this is a Bank of International Settlement document. It says, moreover, it is notable that stablecoin market capitalization has more than doubled since the C-word pandemic. In the same period, there's been a large rise in digital payments more generally in related services such as e-commerce. So the pandemic pushed us this way to look over here. It got us locked down. We're on Zoom calls. We're coaching our kids at home. We now become school teachers with our kids. Most of you are locked down at home. There's all kinds of lockdowns. They take away cash. You can't travel. Cash is not moving around as they move us into a stablecoin and a cryptocurrency environment. Here is the increase in overall, stablecoin usage. Look at this. Look at this. Look at the increase since 2018 wars. And look when it hit in 2020, boom, it just goes parabolic. Unbelievably parabolic. Says in the parallel to the growth in market capitalization, the use of stablecoins has increased as seen in more transactions in stablecoins on the Bitcoin blockchain as flow measures. In fact, the total volume in Tether reached USD 1.6 billion in July 2020, while on-chain transfers of DAI and USD coin peaked at 400 to 500 million. Great, you can see it on the graph as Livecoin. Tether continues to see high internet searches from general public. Even search interest in Facebook Libra has recently ebbed. This was back in 2020. Now, there's something going on with Tether that I'm going to deep dive today. They stopped printing money about the last 3 weeks. So I'm going to dive into that a little bit later. But today in America, U.S. Presidential Advisory Group to discuss stablecoins. So the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell, Securities and Exchange Commissioner Gary Gensler, and the Commodities Future Trading Chair Rostin Benhin will participate in today's meeting. So the President Working Group of Financial Markets plan to discuss stablecoins at a meeting on July 19th, the U.S. Treasury Department announced Friday. The Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen is convening a work group which consists of major financial regulatory agencies to examine stablecoin regulation and risk and define suggestions for future work around the issue. The President Working Group is an interagency entity tasked with monitoring the U.S. financial markets. The press release announcing this meeting, Yellen said the meeting would help protect users, marketplace, and broader financials from the risk of stablecoins pose, while still enabling the government's access to their potential benefits. As he was saying back here, the potential benefits are monitoring, right? And so you got to think about this. The cryptocurrencies you're invested in, when the public and private sector come together, if you're in fundamental cryptocurrencies, are going to be probably the ones that run this system, okay? We know this, January 2021, this is was back in 2021, they made this announcement as well. Federally chartered banks and thrifts may participate independently node verification networks and use stable coin for payment activities. The Washington, this is from the Currency of Comp Controllers, right? That is meeting today, the head of the OCC, the Currency of Comp Controllers. So Washington, the Office of Currency, OCC, today published a letter clarifying national banks and federally savings associations authorities to participate in independent node verifications and use of stablecoins to connect payment activities and other bank permissional functions. While governments in other countries have built real-time payment systems, the United States has relied on our innovation sector to deliver real-time payment technologies. Some of those technologies are built and managed by bank consortia, and some based on independent node verification, such as blockchains, said Acting Comp Controller Brian Brooks. The President Working Group of the Financial Markets recently articulated a strong framework for using in an area of stablecoin-based financial infrastructure and identifying the important risk while allowing those risks to be managed by technology-agnostic way. Our letter removes any legal uncertainty about the authority of banks to connect the blockchain. So this is key. The letter removes any legal uncertainty about the authority of banks to connect blockchains as a validator node and thereby transact stablecoin payments on behalf of customers who are increasingly demanding the speed, efficiency, interoperability, and low cost associated with the product. Right here, Ripple XRP. They're literally saying, listen, banks, we're ready. We're ready for your loud. So they're having these little conversations. They're showing you guys, hey, we're having the conversation behind the scene. But remember, the key is control. They want to get back to the central banks being as close as possible to you, and the commercial banks have to move quickly. So they're telling the commercial banks right here, hey guys, we're giving you the opportunity to get involved. That's why JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon, is, he's telling you one thing, but I'll tell you what, the guy's a business juggernaut, already developed a CBDR system. Basically, they're on board. They're fully on board. Bank of America, that's why they're on board with Ripple. They know this is coming, and they're giving them opportunities, saying, hey guys, you can get this set up. Don't sit back on your hands. And the banks that don't innovate are going to have a blockbuster type moment. We all know this is coming. It's a huge month for us. It says right here, in Congress, we'll get involved with crypto exchange regulations. We know, where was this announcement? This was just recently. They're not going to let me see the article. I'm going to show you another BIS document here. So this is important. I think this was back in 2020 as well. This is the stuff that I read. I was reading this yesterday and this evening, or yesterday evening. So 2 forks in the road for digital currency. So these are the 2 different architectures that they're looking at, right? So I want you to think about this. If you're the government, right? You're the BIS, you're working on stablecoins. Now their key is to take control, to not lose control. So these are the 2 forks when it comes to digital currency. So you have the architecture, right? And you have authority, maintaining trust and stability, which would be, they're talking about stablecoins, the risk and how they basically can get involved in it. You have access, you have identity accounts and autonomy tokens. So this would be the system that they're talking about back here. Right, the system where they're, hey, let's get involved so we can control the system. And then you have a purely decentralized governance, access, identified token, and anonymity tokens, right? So anonymity, did I say that correctly? I don't care. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so these 2 systems, let me explain the difference between the 2, right? They know right now, you have commercial banks, you have central banks, you have Venmo, you have PayPal, you have all these decentralized fintech companies, right? So now what's happening is they know that it's going to be faster, more efficient, and there's they call it trustless, because what happens is if I send you something on the blockchain, there's no identification needed. It's my special coding, your special coding, and it goes through a third party, right? We don't need the intermediate anymore. So their key is what you and I are in. We're involved in the infrastructure of what they're in the amazing race to get involved in, so they don't lose control. So think about that. You're invested in what the government's trying to take control of, and this is why. So this is the original system that we're in right now. The accounts, I am, therefore I own, right? So you have you walk into a bank, you have to show your ID, and then you transact through the Federal Reserve, through the Federal Reserve, through the SWIFT system to send it to another person. Everybody has to be verified to send that money, or you have to send them cash, right? But you still have to be identified through Venmo. But the system that we're in, that can go into now that you and I are in, I could send you Bitcoin without ever identifying myself, because I have an encryption code that I send through a intermediary, right? It's basically me and you. There is no intermediary. I'm sending the codes through a blockchain. There's not some physical person. I don't have to show my ID to anybody. It goes through the blockchain to the other person. It's trustless, right? There's no trusted party in the middle. We are the bank. Does that make sense, Warriors? I want to explain it to you. You now are the bank. They know that. That's why this is happening. That's why this is happening. And that's why the market is sideways right now, because they are packing their bags. They are getting ready for the biggest shift in generational wealth. We know that UBI is coming, Warriors. And we're getting these checks. People with kids are getting checks every single month. There's more helicopter money coming out. And that's why I think this system is this little, stock market overvalued is going to keep going. As long as they keep pumping money into the system, Warriors, the stock market is going to stay overvalued. It's just going to keep, in my opinion, right? Because the cantaloupe effect, the top people are going to invest. It's going to trickle down to you. They're going to keep you relying on the government. They want to take control. This is how it goes, Warriors. So we're just going to keep rolling with this. Remember, if you want to join the Private Warrior Academy, there's never, this is not financial advice, but Warriors, the market is sideways right now. If you ever wanted to get into the market, this is your time. If you haven't joined our Private Warrior Academy, I'm going to start pushing more on it. Here's why. Because we heard hundreds of people, their advice this weekend on how it's absolutely changed their life. Some of the things I've heard, there was people that were in their 60s that said, I've never had this type of view on life before. Their whole life has changed in their 60s, right? It's never too late. There was people telling me, wives telling me that their husbands' lives have completely changed since they joined our program. Because this is much bigger than cryptocurrency, Warriors. You have our 120-day challenge, a community that will change your life, like-minded people lifting each other up, because that's the key. So if you click the link down below, you can join our private Warrior Academy or our free Discord where you can get to know and like and trust us, and our free Facebook group. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys, but I'm not going to stop bringing you this information. Do me a favor, share this video with a loved one who's trying to open up their mind to a new awareness. And as we look this way, there's a whole nother narrative going on this way. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Have an awesome day. Warriors, rise, get your shit together.